Thank you, Carol. That was beautiful. Good morning, Unity. Welcome to everyone here and everyone online that took the time to watch us. Please take a moment to silence your cell phone if you haven't already. Reverend Shara is back with us today. And she will be sharing part 2 of the Embodied Spirituality, along with Livin Wood is back with us too. Thank you. Our musical guest this morning is Marlena Barber, longtime Unity friend, and she will be accompanied by our very own incomparable Carol Roman. 2 weeks from today is Easter Sunday. We're planning an outdoor service, and so far the weather report looks very favorable to do that. We'll also have the Voices of Unity will be performing on Easter Sunday. Today at 1 p.m. will be a review of the Enneagram Basics by Amanda's spiritual group. It's at 1 o'clock here in the sanctuary. So if you want to know more about that subject or participate in the program that I believe Lynn is putting on, that will be done at the same time, where you can find out more about the 9 personality types of the Enneagram. Please note that sign up for the next round of spirit groups starts today. So if you get a chance, be sure and do that. Lastly, this is the first Sunday in April, and you know what that is, Birthday Sunday. So everybody that has an April birthday, please stand along with me. Happy birthday to us. Happy birthday to us. Happy birthday, dear. Happy birthday to us. Thank you. That was wonderful. Now, will everyone please stand for the congregational song?
Oh, you're going over there?
Well, and then I got a cord.
Yeah, we thought you were going to be over there, so why don't you?
This is one.
Oh, that's one? Here, give. One moment.
This is our new congregational song for the month of April. You don't know it, and that's okay. It was written by Reverend Blair. So he will be watching this, by the way, and he'll be here next week to kind of see how we're all doing, I think. So it is a round, which means that there are 3 sections. We will be doing the song all the way through, and then each section has a section leader, so follow your leader. If you don't quite get it today, next week is another week.
This is rehearsal for Reverend Blair.
The first verse we're all going to sing together, and then the round will start after that. And this is my group. You're mine.
God will make of us spiritual giants. God will make of us spiritual giants. Can you feel the power moving? Can you feel the power moving? Now is the
my goodness gracious, we did great. That was fabulous. I am going to watch that.
You know
When-
what? We had a talent show a few years ago, and I was in a quartet with Bonnie and Ron. No,
I don't remember.
it was from
Gary and-
Gary and Bonnie and I and Bruce. And Bruce said, "Wow, that was a train wreck."
But that was not this, right? So this was better.
Do you remember?
I do remember. We looked good, though, and that's okay. Okay, welcome, Unity of Tustin. It's my honor and pleasure and privilege to be here as your prayer chaplain today and to open this service by lighting the Christ candle and reading the daily word. And I'm so moved by the love in the room. I just kind of can't quite, well, it is what it is. It's fabulous. So assurance. Assurance is our word for today. And so when I light this Christ candle, assurance, trust, faith, let these be the things that remind you of who you are and where you have been and this present moment. Sunday, April 6th, assurance. Our affirmation, I live with the assurance of my divinity. The scripture, 1 John 4:13, by this we know that we abide in him and he in us because he has given us his spirit. There are many times I have doubted my ability to create the life of my highest imaginings and resigned myself to living a limited life. Today, I make a new choice. I see myself fully divine and fully human. I am much more than my past. Even if I have made regrettable decisions or disempowering choices, I have the assurance that each day I can begin again and build the life that I want to live. As I pray, I feel the limitations of the world fall away. In the silence, I feel the presence of God and the fullness of my own divinity. This is the endearing truth of who I am. I affirm I am strong, I am creative, I am wise. I leave the past behind and eagerly create my future, assured of my eventual success. Bless you. Our affirmation, I live with the assurance of my divinity. So let's hear it all together. I live with the assurance of my divinity. Thank you.
So remember the lyrics were, God will make us spiritual giants. So maybe by the end of the month, we'll change it to God has made us spiritual giants, and we can sing it really out loud, that beautiful chorus. Thank you for stretching us, giving us a stretch assignment as a community. Good morning, Unity of Tustin. How is everyone today? It's gorgeous. If you haven't done so, go outside. The orange blossoms are intoxicating. Truly, truly. It's a beautiful, beautiful day to be alive and a beautiful place to really experience and express that. And, you know, we're kind of looking into the Easter mystery of incarnation, of embodiment. And the daily word today says, I've come fully human and fully divine. But sometimes in our spiritual walk, we undervalue the human part. And that's really what the Christ mystery was about. It was about coming and becoming human. And one of Jesus' main teachings is repent, my favorite word, because it's really metanoia, which is to turn your consciousness, turn it back towards God. That was the daily word, the assurance that we can do that each and every time. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. So repent, turn your consciousness. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. And we know that means within. And we know that means as the hands of God. But it also means in our body It is at hand. And what does this mean? So, we of course have the consciousness of the eternal. Peter, when Jesus says, "Who do you think I am?" Peter says, "You are the Messiah," which is another word for the Christ, which is the anointed one, the one who knows it is holy. It's activating conscious holiness. And Jesus says, you do not know that through me. And validates this knowing of Peter, the disciple of faith, that knowing came from an internal place, a direct relationship with God. And that's Peter's, that's his kind of giftedness. But we hear that still small voice as an experience. It's an embodied experience. And then it's this same Peter that after the crucifixion, where Jesus is here and not here at the same time, and Jesus tells him he will deny him 3 times when the cock crows 3 times, and then Peter hears it and realizes he, the disciple of faith, has had doubt and said no to Jesus, said no to the Christ. Well, what do we do with that? We repent, we do the metanoia, and we may not be able to change the experience, but we can love the experience. And that's how we transmute, that's how we resurrect, that's how we move from something being in the world to in the eternal world. And this is what Jesus does in the resurrection. Jesus is here, and then he's not here. But when he comes back to Mary Magdalene, who does she see him as? Who remembers? As the gardener. Now, isn't that odd? Now, what do you think? Do you think Jesus is like, well, I'm kind of new at this reincarnation thing, so I'm kind of a beginner. I got the algorithm wrong. I meant to come back looking like me, but instead Joe the gardener kind of is who showed up? No. What Jesus is demonstrating is that Jesus has shown us that the anointed Christ Messiah is in everyone, is now in all of us. Maybe Joe the gardener actually got the access that he was Christ. Now we have this access and this reciprocity, and it is an embodied experience, and it's in all of creation. And that's ours to live. So I'll kind of leave you with this, because Lynn and I are going to be talking about why is embodied spirituality important? Why does it matter? And, Jesus has a big character arc. If we did like the movie of Jesus, and he really gets it at the 11th hour when he loves the experience. There's this injustice. He wants God to take the cup from him. And then he says, "Forgive them, they know not what they do." He loves the experience, and that's what transmutes everything into loving. And at one point, he's talking to the disciples, and he says, you fed me when I was hungry. You clothed me when I was naked. You saw me in prison when I was imprisoned. You healed me when I was sick. And they're kind of scratching their heads a little. And the disciples say, "Well, when did we do that, Jesus?" And Jesus said, "When you did it to the least among us, you did it to me." So that is the incarnational story. How we treat the least among us is how we treat Jesus and how we express our Jesus nature, our way shower who shows us the way. And, that's why our Sunday supper has such important metaphysical meaning, is this is the way we serve the least among us. We put feet on it. We make it actualized. We embody it. We say yes to the experience of all, and we embrace it. So just kind of play with that when Lynn and I talk, that there is this deep way of being the kingdom of God, that it is at hand. And how do we lean into that part to deepen our overall experience and expression of us as the Messiah, as the Christ, as the anointed one, and the recognition that that exists throughout all of creation. That is what Jesus demonstrated in the Easter story. All of it is holy. All of it is holy. So let's bring this into prayer. So I invite everyone to take a couple of deep breaths and just breathe in the light and love and breathe out the light and love. It's just such a lovely, simple mantra, but to remember there is not a spot that God is not. And breathe it all in. And when we love the experience, we can access our anointed selves and come forward as the transmuting, transformational love of the Christ. We can be that in the world. So just see yourself embracing. Pick something small. Something small that makes you irritable. And just imagine yourself with the altitude of living love, embracing it. That I can say yes to even this. Jesus showed us that we can say yes to everything. And just allow that to settle in your body. The kindness. Imagine yourself as Peter, realizing you denied your master and loving the experience. And then showing up, as we would say in the Quantum Living program, on your cue card as your highest and best self, and being the kingdom of God that is at hand. And we know this, we affirm this, and we live this in the spirit and after the nature of the indwelling Christ presence. And so it is. Amen. Well, this is the week that we have our transformational story. And we have a little twist on it this week. Instead of having a transformational story, we have a transformational epiphany. So Mary Jean and I are in the office, and Mary Jean comes in with passion, telling me about a eureka, an aha, an epiphany. And I said, why don't you share that? You know, that's what's alive when something comes forward. So here to share her forever wise transformational epiphany, our very own Mary Jean Hawes.
Once in a while, the choir sings a song where the chorus is, I had a revelation. Remember that song? Well, I had a revelation. And Shara asked me to share it with you because next weekend we're hosting 55 people coming from all around the region, sponsors and teens. And so this was a very timely revelation in that sense. This is a big deal. It's a big deal for all of our kids and our community. My revelation was a TV show. And I'm not recommending this TV show because it's very, very difficult to watch. It's on Netflix, and it's called Adolescence. And believe me, these kids are barely adolescents, 13 years old. The story centers around a boy who's 13, who stabs to death a girl in his class who's also 13. Now, that's not why I had the revelation, but the reason he was driven to this is why it led me to a revelation. He's been sucked into this online world called the manosphere, where he's exposed to a toxic stew of hatred of women and self-loathing a combination that's designed to produce rage, a kind of rage that comes from being hopeless and helpless. And at the same time, he's being cyberbullied by this young girl that he ends up stabbing. This is 7th grade, mind you. His parents are, of course, devastated by this unimaginable tragedy. And like any parent, they say to themselves, what did we do wrong? Like me, they had no idea this existed. They thought he was up in his room playing video games. So I could think to myself, I am so glad that I did not have to deal with this, that my kids were just old enough that they missed this whole social media stuff. But then came my revelation. These are all our kids. These are all our kids. I'm at the end of my life. I'm at the last lap, right? I don't want to leave the world without making some kind of difference to all these things that I didn't even know the depth of depravity of them. Here at Unity, we're shining the light to give these kids a different worldview, a different way to see the world, a different lens to look through. And this is the part that's really important. It's not like Catholic school when I was there, you should do this, and here's a book of rules or whatever. It's experiential. They're giving them skills to communicate in a different way, to have self-love, which is really important, and how to treat other people, the language to use with other people that's acceptable. They can see themselves as holy vessels at a time when the rest of the world is talking about hate, and especially self-hate. I used to feel somewhat neutral about the family ministry. I'm admitting that. It was nice, and they were kind of over there doing their thing with the kids. But now I see it as critical and urgent. There's no more time left for these kids to have a different way to see the world and to see their future in it. This isn't political or religious. It's the only agenda is values. I'm asking myself, maybe you are too right now, what are my values? So we can communicate these values to our precious children and teens. Values like all those things there, love and abundance and integrity and inclusiveness and respect for others and love for themselves. We need to show them what a healthy consciousness looks like, healthy communication, healthy relationships. And we're doing that here at Unity. All of us are doing that. And that is something to feel really wonderful about. Thank you.
Good morning. I walk the wire. It is straight and narrow. I don't look down at what might break my fall. I use my mouth. I can read the lips of others. I trust the moments to reveal to me a sign. Between the lines is where I find what I am after. The answer lies there between to try floating tranquil all the while. I ask for freedom, sunlit and lovely, stunning and falling like a birthday from the sky. Between the lines is where I find what I am after. The answer lies there between the lines. And then between lines, what you mean to me. These things I tell you are swirling in the confusion. I see the contradictions you present to me as mine. Between the lines is where I'll find what I am after. The answer lies there between the lines is where I find what I am after. The answer lies there between the
Thank you, Marlena and Carol. Now it is my honor to invite up the very sage Lynn Wood.
That feels so strange.
Take it,
Totally
experience it, Lynn. Embody this moment.
Yeah, you know, I feel I really ended up here by accident.
Yeah.
Well, like life, right?
Yeah. Yeah, how did you wind up here?
I think I asked you after service one time, I said, where do people go when you're doing this 3 minutes of meditation? I think I said, I feel like we need to go deeper. We need to get deeper into the body somehow. I don't know if there's time during 3 minutes, but I just was really having an impulse that was a good idea.
And that's the thing about participatory spirituality. You have a good idea, and then here you are.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah, so it's like, how did I really get involved in embodiment, first of all, and then that leading to a spiritual opening in me. It was so natural, but so random and so ordinary. And it was like walking on the beach when I was young and being attracted to jumping up off my beach towel and going and walking in the footsteps of somebody who had walked by, just to see if I could feel what they were feeling, how they were walking. And, that was me playing, right? Yeah. And then, I was a dancer and taught dance for many, many years, and at the university leading classes, actors and dancers, and movement for the body in different techniques, jazz, not tap, but jazz, modern dance, improvisation, choreography, and then choreographing shows. But it's how did I get there? How did I get into dance? I started as a psych major, which is interesting because now that comes back around with what I do now. But I started as a psych major, and then I had to take an introduction to dance class for my breath requirements for my bachelor's degree. And so I saw a lot of old dance films of modern dancers. I'm going to have to demonstrate. There was this one film, and these women were all lined up, and they all had these capes on, these sort of flowing capes, and they were just all walking really slowly and lifting their hands and coming around and joining into a circle. And then, I sort of went out of my seat and just went, there's something going on here that's just really amazing, and I'd never seen, I mean, you see we saw whatever the dancers were on TV in the 60s, right? Because I went to college in the 60s. So I said, I never had a dance training, never had anything, and I was drawn to it through my spiritual connection, which I didn't name at that time, but I just said, there's something deeper here. Got to go find out. Got accepted as a dance major, having never taken a single dance class in college. Because I was at the right place at the right time, because they were just starting a brand new dance major. And they would take anyone. So there were 6 of us. So got to go over to the professor's house, and it was a small group and so on. But that was really powerful and really important. And so I've always been kind of on the sideline of those that teach dance technique. I taught improvisation for a long time, which is, to me, a real connection to spirit. I was really interested in helping dancers come all the way into their bodies with what they were expressing through their technique.
There's so much there. One is just the fertileness of new things emerging. So because this dance program was new, they even let in you.
Yeah.
And you had a different angle. You were almost looking at the healing intelligence of movement, not the performative aspect.
Right.
But that became part of the new story because something new was being born. And then you also talked about this kind of cycle of psychotherapy in the body.
Right.
So I did the psychotherapy route.
Yeah.
And in my profession, we now know that full healing often requires the body. Somatic healing is the new evolution of psychotherapy. Because even when we talk about regulating so that we can respond rather than react, the only way you can respond and not react is if your nervous system is at peace. And that is a somatic experience. And often what you think about, you bring about, but you sometimes can't think your nervous system back into equilibrium. You have to move, you have to drum, you have to be in community, you have to cry, you have to somehow be in relationship to the body. So I'm kind of curious from you, you became a somatic healer.
Yeah, I just want to say also, just to add to what you
Yeah.
said, you need to also find pleasure in your body.
Pleasure. Oh my goodness, I'm Catholic. Isn't that one of the 7 bad words you can't say on the platform? Everyone say pleasure. Oh, doesn't it? Yes. That's
Really?
a strange spiritual edge somehow. How did that happen? I mean, Jesus was all about pleasure, the nice robes, the spikenard on his feet being washed with hair.
Yeah.
How did we lose that, and where does that come in?
I think I wonder about Jesus' death. I think Brian and I have conversations about that. It's like when you see a spirit coming, his spirit coming back, that's the spirit, that's not his body. So obviously then the body is maybe not important. I don't know. I just have a little inkling about it. I just am curious about that. There's some kind of split that happens between, the sense of spirituality being one with all that is, being one with God. It's so ironic, too, because if Jesus came fully God and fully human, if Jesus came that way, it was for us to realize that our fully human body was full of God, was God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh. Does anyone else have that kind of question? Yeah, like we know something's missing, but don't quite know what it is or quite how to articulate it. It's like we have to discover it.
Right.
Yeah.
Then we have so many issues around our bodies, outlooks, that we need to get older, we need to fix wrinkles, we need to get a special cream, we need to lose weight, we need to, whatever we need to do to have our body be okay, and yet it's never quite okay. So it's stands in the way a lot of, as far as really getting very close to your physical, your loving your flesh, loving your cells, your bones.
Yeah. That dimensionality of self-love that we all know and teach, and that Mary Jean's talking about, it also means self-love of this kingdom at hand,
Right.
whatever that hand might look like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So tell us about, your sense of embodied spirituality. What is it, from your experience as a somatic healer and inquirer, as a almost spiritual scientist, and why is it important?
It's like bouncing a ball, which seems weird for me to say, but it's like you have to go down to go up. You have to go, it's like we meditate, we maybe want to expand out into the spheres and connect with the higher frequencies and connect to God that way. But it's like, what I have found in my experience is that going all the way deeply into the physical, into the consciousness and the bones and the flesh and the blood and the fluids that move through our body, that going all the way in, there's then suddenly an expansion. There's an expansion inside. You find, like yesterday in the soul rave, you find that cosmos inside the body that it then expands out, and you and the cosmos become one kind of evolving oneness.
Yeah, because our bodies are holy. So if we don't attune to the holy intelligence within them, we're missing half the instructions. Yeah. And, how have you navigated this? Like what does embodied healing look like? You are in your practice.
Yeah, it's very interesting because I kind of started doing it while I was still teaching at the university, which wasn't really appropriate for that setting. Wasn't at that kind of a university. It was at Cal State Fullerton. It was a great place. I also taught at the University of Colorado for a while, and UCLA for a bit. But I think what happened was I just wanted the students they just needed to get deeper into their bodies. And what happened in my improvisation class was trying to get them to figure out why they were moving. You learn the steps, but what's the why? What's the inner impulse that wants to come through the body? So I just was doing that work, and I kept bringing them into their bodies and encouraging that through different things that I invented, different ways of getting them to move, so then they could wake up. It's like I have to do this, right? It's really can't talk about that part. But what happened was they would write in their journals, they would write, oh, this was like worth like 5 years of psychotherapy, your class. It really helped me connect to myself, to my being. I really connected. And then I started to see them change. So I said, I got to find out more about this. So that's what led me to the Barbara Brennan School of Healing.
So I'll tell you, like when we talk about the evolution of things, I'm involved with the Richard Rohr Center for Action and Contemplation Living School. And the Living School, which I graduated from the inaugural class in 2015, was kind of the old school model where we sat at the feet of the gurus and absorbed all of the beautiful information and was uplifted by it. And it was fantastic. But the program is evolving. And the Center for Action and Contemplation is anticipating, first of all, the passing of the gurus. And then like, where are the ones we've been waiting for? What do we do when the guru model becomes extinct? And then also using it as an awareness to evolve embodied spirituality, that the kingdom of God is at hand. So the new program, we might spend the first hour together doing a very unique kind of cognitive and body dissonance meditation to get a felt sense of something, then writing about it silently for 10 minutes, then going in breakout rooms and talking about it. And at first, we had a lot of pushback because people are like, I'm here to listen to Richard Rohr. I don't want to sit here and journal for 10 minutes in silence. because there's almost this sense that the embodiment isn't enough. You know, we want the dopamine hit from something outside of ourselves.
There's always something better outside. I think originally, you know, it's like the gurus are meant to like light our fire or something, you know, to to get you to take the ball and then run with it. You know,
Right.
so that you then, and then if Jesus said, right, that you will do the same as me, you have this ability, right? So there it is right there. But still, it's like, no, I got to have another hit. I got to have another hit of that guru. Got to go to this seminar.
What we found at first, you know, a certain amount of people left because it was just too simple. It's almost like beneath them. But most people stayed. And it was around trimester of 3, trimesters 2, that something came online. And then all of a sudden, our breakout rooms became deep and explosively expansive, just through our own cohered wisdom showing up in that space.
Yes, and it's because of the community, right? It's because of community come together, like everyone dropping into their leadership and being together in that leadership of where they are, what's growing in them, and you know, to sink deeper and be together in that space where you evolve as a being, as a group being.
Yeah, and it's an experience because on some level, I have it too. Like I was almost like, you know, are we really enough?
Yeah.
And there is that sense of the yearning for the old model and almost missing it a little bit. I could feel that in myself. But I had the experience, the embodied experience of seeing how it grew each of us, including me, in ways that sitting at the feet of the master can't access. And I would almost say from the head down.
Yeah. And it's a little scary. Like, am I on the right track? Am I going off track here?
Yeah, because there's no roadmap, no one to tell you the way.
Right, being more in the unknown and curious. And
Yeah, say more about that. And how can embodiment help us with that? Because I think we're in the unknown right now, probably more than ever. Things are changing. This is kind of the Easter story. The old way is disintegrated. The new way hasn't emerged. Where in the liminal space, how do we hold on to ourselves and stay in love and not clinging to the old familiar so a new story can be born, a new dance program with new norms can be born? And how does embodiment help us with that? Because it's such an important, it might be the most important spiritual capacity, a service for the collective we can develop in ourselves, is the ability to stay connected when we are in between stories. The old is gone, the new hasn't emerged.
You sound like you're actually experiencing that. I'd say, well, you know, it's like doing the practices of really looking in, feeling, sensing, feeling, and then acting on the sensing and the feeling that you come up with in your body, that you experience. You don't leave your body. You more often stay in your body for information and wisdom. So it's in the beginning, you feel the wisdom is in the outside, but the more you embody and the more you make friends with and start to trust where the sensation and the attention and the awareness goes in your body with that kind of practice, you start to say, well, my body says I want ice cream right now. And even though it's not on your diet, maybe your body really does want nice ice cream because it's part of the pleasure that you need right now. You know, so it's like rather than following sets of rules on the outside, starting to maybe see the rules on the outside, say, I'll take this one and that one, but then not all of them. And I think that's what I loved about teaching at the university, too, because I didn't have parents coming in and watching over the kids. Number one, that was freedom. And another thing was that no one was watching me teach my classes, right? It's not like I was doing something subversive, but I could do it in my own way. So I followed certain rules, but then had the flexibility and choice. But I started to realize I actually have that in everything if I just give myself that permission to follow only what resonates. And
Yeah.
you can't find what resonates until you really get to know and become more aware of your body, of your
Beautiful,
insides.
beautiful. Like maybe everyone right now, like just take in the word resonate and see it as an intelligence system. You know, because I think that is like, how do we know we're acting on the still small voice rather than my preference? And one of the ways is that I'm hearing you say is because when we really know our bodies, we will know on how we experience the resonance. And then we can act with authority and confidence because it's coming from our authentic intelligence of the body that's resonating with the right action that's coming forward.
Right, so you develop the ability to know in your bones, and like you said in your introduction this morning, right, you have this direct knowing. Well, it's hard to have direct knowing because it takes your whole instrument to resonate. I mean, we have all these chakras, right? We have all these energy centers that bring in information constantly depending on where they're located in the body. And we have to be alive in them. We have to be alive inside our bodies. And
Yeah, it's a good point. Knowing is not a mental thing. It's a mental plus heart, plus intuition, plus
gut,
somatic.
right? Knowing in your gut.
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
We have it in our language, but we just say it and maybe don't go all the way into the gut to really find out what it's saying.
Yeah. So I know you're going to lead us in an experience of this in a bit. Before we break for a beautiful meditative music and set the stage for you to do another deeper embodied meditation for us so we can start to attune to what's available when we go deeper into the bones and deeper into the wisdom of our bodies. Is there anything else you're inspired to share or say or...
No, and I was just wondering if you were going to, excuse me, I have to cough. I get a frog. Oh, look, I think he cut the mic out right when I was coughing. That was so nice. Okay. I was just wondering if anyone had any questions.
Sure. I see a hand back there and then Joy. Please stand and say your question. Yes.
So I feel like for my journey, I'm in the process of living what you're talking about. But for me, and I guess my question is, do you feel like this is a prerequisite I've spent like the last 15 years doing recovery work, right? Healing trauma and all of that inner child work. And now I feel like I'm in a space to be able to trust my inner self. Do you feel like, because we do have collective trauma, we have, trauma from our parents, our ancestors, that there is that prerequisite of working on that before we can fully embody the trusting our bones and our gut and all that?
Yeah. I feel that that's very important, but it doesn't matter really which end you start from. If you have someone who can work with you, who's reflecting back to you, or a group that you belong to, because when you start to move energy in a different way through your body and start to be conscious and really be there, what's naturally going to come up is your trauma. Is every place in your body that there's blocks or frozen, Barbara Brennan would say frozen time capsules, like places in your life where it was too difficult to feel what was going on, that you held that in your body, and it's actually in your flesh. I found this out when I was, I went through Rolfing. That's, in the 70s I went through Rolfing, I still do, and not my whole family does it now, but it's like, I experienced a bicycle accident I had when I was 7 when he was working on my arm. So I was aware that there was trauma or memory that's being held there. So I went, so I got that, right? So then that I carried with me through the rest of this big journey till now. So yeah, I think it will happen if you start with the trauma, because that's where you're led, because you can't live your life comfortably or well without doing something to help this nervous system jangle, like you were saying that you're feeling, then you can start there. It's good to do both ends at once, I think.
Yeah. Nice. I know Thomas Hubel says we're born into a traumatized field. So we all carry trauma. And the body can heal trauma without the mind ever understanding what happened. So that's why these things are important too. I was the clinical director of a Native American tribe, their behavioral health program, and there's intergenerational trauma. So how do you heal trauma that didn't happen in the person's biographical life so they can't talk about it? And yet it exists. So I had to get trained in how to do that through the body. And the body can heal what the mind doesn't even understand. Yeah.
Right, it's the bloodline healing. I worked with a healer, George Hunter, who wrote a whole book on bloodline healing. It's very interesting. He's part Cherokee, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's so interesting you're asking the question about trauma and healing because, I went to energy healing, but then I also took part in more of a body psychotherapy training, radical aliveness training, where you really allow any kind of trigger that's stuck, move it through the body so that it can open and free itself and come back into the heart, come back into the tenderness and the loving place where you didn't love yourself because of the trauma.
Thank you. Let's hear one more from Joy, and then we'll close. And just one thing about trauma, I think trauma and spirituality are very linked.
Yes.
For me personally, I've defined my life success is if I've metabolized more trauma than I've created. Yeah. Joy.
Just very much appreciate this, and my journey has taught me that I can't authentically love another if I'm not doing this kind of work.
Yeah.
And we get asked, and we get told that's what we're meant to do. But I find that this is really a necessary part of being able to truly, authentically do that. So it's hugely important, and I would love any resources that you have that you would share, maybe in the newsletter.
Yeah, I'll come up with some, and then I'm going to be teaching this class. There's going to be six sessions. It's going to be in the morning, I think Thursday morning, Thursday morning at 10.
Real quick, because you're in the labyrinth ministry, how
Right.
is that a somatic experience?
Oh, it's
Nice.
totally for me a somatic experience. Yeah, the labyrinth. To me, I see it as a portal, because I let my imagination go with these things too, and I'm sure the ancients saw it as a portal. It is because when you walk in, even if you don't have an intention going in, something happens. And I've had lots of people tell me something happens that they didn't expect. They get some kind of message. Whatever message you get is what is here now, is what you're supposed to get. It's fascinating. And I've always been, because my minor was anthropology, right? It's like this whole thing. And then my research project was on the shaman and the artist healer. So as I went into it after being a choreographer and a dancer, and then took healing school, then I thought, okay, there's some shamanic roots here, where the shaman was the healer and the artist and the musician, right?
Beautiful, beautiful. There's so much more, so please sign up for Lynn's class. I believe we have a sign-up sheet outside, and we'll be giving more information about it in the coming weeks. But let us now be blessed. Thank you, Lynn. And let us be blessed with some more music from Marlena and Carol, and then Lynn will give us an embodied experience of embodied experience.
You're gonna be okay. Oh, you're gonna be okay. Oh, the sun will keep on rising in that old familiar way, and every little thing is gonna be okay. You're gonna be alright, darling. You're gonna be alright, 'cause the stars darkest of night, and you can know you're gonna be alright. Lift your eyes to the hills, remember where your help comes from. Lift your eyes to the hills, you'll never face a valley alone. 'Cause even in the darkest moments, and you've had lost your way, you're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. Yeah, I know you're gonna be okay. Not a care in this whole world can take that truth away. You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be alright. Darling, you're gonna be alright. At the end of all our breath, when we're beckoned on to the light, love will meet you there. You're gonna be alright. At the end of all our breath is the beginning of new life. You're gonna be alright.
I'm not using this mic, correct? I guess not. I hear myself. Okay, so it's time now to, as we're all like thinking and aware of what Shar and I have been talking about, right? Just if you're comfortable closing your eyes, if you're not, really just kind of bring your awareness, your attention inside your body, and actually think about your very center core, your spine. And I see the spine as the top vertebrae as your skull, so your head, and then all the bones down through your neck, down through your torso, or your ribs attached to your spine, and deeper down to your low spine where those vertebrae get larger, and deeper down into your pelvis, the back of your pelvis, and the way your pelvis wraps around to the front is open in the front, a little bit of more opening. And as you drop down from your pelvis and your tailbone, let that line of energy drop all the way to the center of the earth. Down to the crystalline core of the Earth star. Well, I'm going to play some soft music, and this music was composed by Brian Wood. And the title of the song is Let Nature Lead. And right now, nature is your body. Your body is your guru. And now that you're finding your ground, start to let your awareness move through your physical body into maybe a place where you feel some tension. And I just want to say that tension is in all movement. All movement requires tension, but all tension is not movement. Some of the tension is just sitting there in pain or lack of awareness. So I'm just going to encourage you to find a place that feels a little tight and make it tighter. Just allow it to be all that it is, not just sitting on the simmer, but bring your muscle there, tighten it up and tighten it up. And then let it go. Let the tension release in some kind of movement. It can be very small, it can be a micro movement. And see where that wants to flow. It's almost like bringing the tension into the part, energizing that tension, bringing your aliveness and awareness into the tension. Taking a breath in, letting the breath go, and letting the part move. Let it move, and let the movement there be like water releasing and flowing through your body, so that the energy from that place that's tight can move through your body and let it go wherever it wants to go, until it comes back to stillness. And then you proceed to find in your awareness, not through your mind, but where your body tells you there's something else that you need to magnify to let it be all that it is. Breathing into it and let it go. And I'm speaking quickly, but I think you get the idea, so I'm going to leave you alone to play with this. Knowing that this community is moving through what needs to move, what needs to let go, what needs to transform into a flow of movement like water through the body. And your breath. And just notice what happens to your breath when you bring the tension stronger. And notice what happens to your breath when you let the tension release, almost like a star from the center of the tension moving out and then starting to flow through your whole body. Notice where it wants to flow. Just be with it. You might have feelings that come into that tension. Just stay with them. Let them magnify. Feel them. Let them move. Have another minute for this process, but this process could go on in your own time later. And if your body wants to move bigger, allow that to happen. Let your inner knowing now, as we're starting to bring this practice back to center in your body, find out where the center is in your body right now. It may be in your heart, it may be in your gut, it may be anywhere in your body. Really trust that you find the center wherever the center is right now. And allow a message to come to you from there. Just open to the curiosity of a message that you receive as you come to stillness in this centered place where you're directed. This is a message from the body. It might not be in words. And know that you're supported. Spirit supports you in this place, is with you. And all the people in the room here, our congregation, everyone is with you. In this place. In the room, when you're ready to gradually open your eyes if they're closed, and see if you can stay with the quality that you have inside right now as you open your eyes and take in the room. And keeping 98% of your awareness in that place and just 2% of your awareness outside. Welcome back. Some of you are not quite back, but we're going to be moving on to the conclusion of the service, and it's a pleasure to be with you this way. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to try this with 2% of me. How do you do that, Lynn? I guess through these classes we're going to learn more about that, right? Okay. Well, now is the time of our service. And thank you so much, Lynn. That was really quite fabulous. And Marlene and Carol for the beautiful music before our meditation. Thank you. So now is the time to welcome our first-time visitors and guests in person and online. Welcome online. We're so grateful you have joined us today. Here at Unity of Tustin, we believe in one God, one heart, many paths, and our mission is to transform lives and inspire people to make a positive difference in the world. We are a fully inclusive community and all from all walks of life, and we would like you to know that whatever your background and wherever you are on your spiritual path, we are glad you're here to continue your journey with us. Our ushers are coming forward with flowers and welcome cards for those who are here for the first or second time, or if you were so shy a year ago you couldn't do it, just stand on up, that's great. So if you're comfortable in doing so, we invite you to raise your hand so we can recognize you and present you with these gifts. Anybody here? Oh, over here. Thank you so much, and welcome. Thank you for joining us today. We invite everyone to join us after the service for food and fellowship around the hospitality table, and make sure to stop by our open door welcome center and bookshop. Also, as always, we have our Reiki practitioners wearing green ribbons and our prayer chaplains wearing white ribbons, who will be at the entrance to the garden to heal with you and pray with you. And all prayers are confidential, and we love to pray here at Unity of Tustin. In addition, there are prayer request forms in the seat backs in front of you and at the table at the garden's entrance where you may leave your requests in the prayer box. They will be lovingly held by our silent prayer ministry team. There's also much happening here on our campus of consciousness. Please check your email every Friday for our weekly newsletter and visit the welcome table for information. And I believe you can sign up for that e-newsletter at that location as well, at our welcome table. Events and opportunities to serve as part of our beloved Unity of Tustin community. So please go to the welcome table and then on to food. Now is the time for receiving of our love offering. As we share our financial gifts, we support our ministry. This is an action of spiritual substance and proclamation of prosperity consciousness. We pass the love offering basket here in the sanctuary and have ways to give electronically that are on the screen and also online as well, so thank you. As the love offering basket passes, please hold your hand on it for a moment to connect with the spirit of giving. We are grateful for your faith and generosity. And Reverend Cheryl, will you give us a prayer blessing? Thank you.
I'm really kind of aware of the flow of our community and the meaningfulness of that. Starting with Mary Jean talking about youth and family life. What's important to know about rally that's happening is that this is the first rally since pre-COVID, right, Gary? Yeah. So Unity of Tustin actually is taking on the role of the region to rebirth something that had gone deeply dormant and almost was extinct. So what we do here has such profound ripples. And I'll announce, too, I just found out I was nominated and elected to the Unity Worldwide Ministry Board. So this is another way that our ministry is feeding the new story in the larger network. And we're only here to do this because of our love offerings. And because we give with the level of flow that makes a difference. That we give of our treasures more than that's just convenient. But the impact is so needed and so enormous. And on behalf of us all, I thank us all for that continued commitment. So please affirm with me our love offering blessing together. Divine love as we blesses and multiplies all that we are, all that we have, all that we give, and all that we receive in joy. And it is our joy to hear Marlena and Carol end with a new day for a new story.
A new day has come. A new day has come. I was waiting for so long for a miracle to come. Everyone told me to be strong. and the world thought I had it all, but I was waiting for you. Hush, now I see a light in the sky. Oh, it's almost blinding me. I can't believe I've been touched by an angel with love. Let the rain come down and wash away my tears. Let it fill my soul and drown my fears. Let it shatter the world for a new sun. A new day has come. Where it was dark, now there's a light. Where there was pain, now there's joy. Where there was weakness, I found my strength, all in the eyes of God. Hush, now I see a light in the sky. Oh, it's almost blinding me. I can't believe I've been touched by an angel with love. Let the rain come down and wash away my tears. Let it fill my soul and drown my fears. Let it shatter the walls for a new sun. A new day has come. Let the rain come down and wash away my tears. Let it fill my soul and drown my fears. Let it shatter the walls for a new sun. A new day has come.
Marlena and Carol, thank you. Thank you. Would the congregation all stand for the prayer for protection? Ah, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us wherever we are. Over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Go forth and live it. Thank you for coming.